All right.
All right.
I think we're on.
Good deal. Thanks, Sarah. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this morning, and thank you to our presenters. Thanks to all of our members for being here in attendance. Before we get started, the minutes from the last meeting was distributed, so just want to get a poll of if anyone has any questions, changes. If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
No questions. This is Marie. Motion to approve.
I second that. Thank you. Any objections? Hearing none, motion passes. So we'll get it right into the agenda. We have Chris Bowen here to update us on the progress of RITHM at Uptown. So Chris, floor is yours.
All right. Well, thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be back with you. I think it's been a little while since I had the opportunity to give you an update on our development, which is the redevelopment, the acquisition, which was a handful, and the redevelopment of the University Mall property, which is in excess of 100-acre urban development site, which is big in any city, and including the city of Tampa and the county of Hillsborough here in Florida. Couple of quick updates, and then I hope to be able to open it up to some questions that any of you may have. So first of all of the approvals for zoning, PD, plan development, all of the related approvals and rezoning are completed. Very happy about that. It's been, for me personally, it's been a 4-year process. There were 3 years, 2 of which I worked on behind the scenes off-site. So I've got about 6 years into this development, and we're just now starting to build some buildings, which is great because real estate developers are like actors, and we get paranoid when we don't have a gig. And my gig is when I see buildings going up. But I'm a little bit different developer than most, and I'm proud of that. And so I'm very proud of all the planning and all the hard work that went in from all sorts of people around the country, including many in this community, to help pull this off and create what we now call RITHM at Uptown as an algorithm. And it's an acronym for Research, Innovation, Technology, Habitat, Medicine. Those are the 5 elements that we're literally programming into an algorithm of sorts to create an innovation community and really spur on a great innovation community that's been in the making here in what we now call the Uptown community for over a half century, even much longer than that. So everything's in place, buildings are happening. The first project we kicked off in this actually happened about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. Hard construction, at least a year, is a $65 million apartment project on the east side. I call that the university side, to orient those of you that maybe aren't familiar completely with that property. We have a connection via University Square Drive. It's a little drive, it's a private drive, but it connects the USF campus to what is now the RITHM at Uptown project. It's very, very important. And it shows you that, as much as we want to focus on big boulevards in big development, the little ones are just as important. And University Square Drive is very, very important to me and important to our project. It connects, it's a connector. And I think that's what a lot of you are into today, about connecting. Connecting, through long tracks of space and time, and also in the little block by block segments, which are actually very important to me and probably more important to me today, the block by block side, than the, connect to the next state, connect to the next county, connect to the next town. It's really about connecting within our own community, our own neighborhoods, and being ready to then connect to everyone else in the great big world outside. We obviously hear a lot about connecting north to south, east to west here in Metro Tampa. But we have this, we have the project going, and now a lot of what I think people, one of my challenges has been perception. People have not really understood, have a hard time understanding what's it going to look like, what's it going to be, how is the University Mall going to become something else? What are you going to do with that property? Well, as I said before, it took us 7 years just to assemble it all back together under one ownership so that a development group could master plan it, rezone it, and develop it in a way that we think is harmonious and very impactful to the grand vision of this community, which we are now starting to push forward as the Uptown Innovation Corridor. So we're really excited about that. Some of you have probably heard that out there, but you're going to hear a lot more about that. So not only is it really a district, everybody's got a district of some level, but not everybody has a corridor. And we have the Uptown Innovation Corridor. So that's all of yours. That's not just me or anyone else individually. This is a major initiative. It includes the USF campus. It includes Temple Terrace. It includes all of our neighborhoods around the mall and over to 275 and over to I-75 and down to Bush and beyond and up beyond Fletcher and Barris and beyond as well. It's going to be very, very exciting. There's the Tampa Innovation Partnership has now expanded significantly and is now called Soaring City Innovation Partnership. And Soaring City and that group is taking on the development, the ecosystem, and also the framework, hardscape development planning of the Uptown Innovation Corridor. So I give you that just as a little context because it's not just 100 acres at the University Square Mall property that's been under a lot of work and planning and development, but it's really the whole community. And there's a lot going on here, and transportation is really at the heart of all of this because, and we've sort of pushed ourselves in a way that makes it even more critical because we're not just saying this is an urban neighborhood of parts. This is truly going to be and is, but is going to be an even greater innovation community, and woven together with people from all walks of life and from all over the globe. Truly an international community we have here in this district and community. So a couple things about RITHM at Uptown. So I think you want to know a little bit about that. Over 100 acres. Now, what's interesting is we already have a very sophisticated stormwater system already in place. So we can get full benefit of the 100 acres. So we're not going to be adding any more ponds. We're going to be adding probably a lot of fountains and splash pads and things like that, and a lot of I think very cutting edge stormwater management type compatible systems to those lakes that we have, and we're bringing them back as lakes and for people to enjoy, to walk around, to stand by, to sing by, to do whatever you want, and really create park-like waterfronts and lakes for this development and really for the community, because that's really what it's for. They're gathering places, and RITHM at Uptown is a major gathering place. That's what it is in the making. We're getting ready. We're under development. We'll begin construction on our first hotel project here by the end of this year, and we're on a tight time frame. But our partner is Marriott, and Marriott wants to see construction in 2022, and we're not going to disappoint them. We're gonna create our first hotel. It's designed to be a dual brand hotel, so it'll be two Marriott flags, and altogether somewhere around 200 plus keys, as they call it in that business. Rooftop experience, lounge, restaurant that'll have view of USF, view of the medical district, view of Busch Gardens and the roller coasters and the fireworks at night, and the downtown skyline. I've been up there. We're up about 6-7 stories already, and the views are really spectacular. And I can see what it's going to be like to have a beverage and have a bite to eat in the evening, looking out really in a 360. Also coming is we had really some, I hope is our last big hurdle, but we had to figure out how to, our last acquisition of the property was the Burlington property, 7.5 acres, very significant property for us on our, what we call our east 50 acres. And that again is the university side. We keep pointing to that because the connectivity is important to us to the medical district, one of the largest medical research districts in Florida, and the USF campus, and all the tech that has really embedded around those two, and will now just continue to escalate and advance. We need that connectivity, so we're always orienting ourselves. Everybody kind of looks at that property and orients it toward Fowler, but really I orient it toward the medical district and USF, and then I look back to I-275 and I orient that way. So there's really two directions, east and west, that I'm more concerned about, and then Fowler is a connector between east and west for me, for RITHM. We're right in the middle of a 1.8 mile stretch of Fowler from 275 to the USF Research Park land on both sides of Fowler at Bruce B. Downs. So again, the east-west is important. It's and then the corridor connector of that 1.8 mile stretch, we are at 0.9 on our western flank of that 1.89. So it's very, very interesting the way that sort of cuts in and plays out and will play out. We acquired Burlington. We've been trying to do that for 7 years. We finally did it. It's the last acquisition. I'm extremely excited about that. This development would never happen if we couldn't get all of the pieces back. It would never happen the way it really is meant to be. Now it will. But even in doing that with a large scale development, there are always challenges. There are always things that you don't know. There will always be things you don't know. I try to work it out so that what the surprises that come along are really big positive surprises, and they make the development better than I could have ever imagined, and we could have ever imagined as a team. And right now it's a local, regional, and national team, and even a little bit of international presence as well on some of the tech advisory side, because this is not a real estate development play purely. It is really an innovation community development, looking at players and people first, and then looking at the buildings. Everyone thinks as a real estate developer, you should focus on buildings. Well, if your project is 1 building or 2 buildings, that probably is about what you do, but not when it's hundreds of buildings like this. This is 7.25 million square feet on its worst day. It's 100 acres. It's mixed use. It's urban. I'm trying to make it as dense as I can because I want to connect it all as much as I can. The latest with Burlington is that in order to acquire them, they didn't want to leave. They love the area, they love the market, they do extremely well here. So we had to figure out a way to make Burlington a part of all this. And what we decided to do is carve out a few acres, really, for about 100,000 square feet of development that would become sort of a neighborhood shopping center enclave. Whereas basically, if you think about it, then the whole city builds up around it. That's not what I wanted to do at the beginning. That is not even close, but that is what we had to figure out and make it work. Fortunately, it's just a few acres, and I think we can make it work really well for the residents there and for the people who work there, and there will be thousands there. There'll be over 4,000 apartments when this is all said and done. So it's a massive development, probably 3 million or more square feet of office and office type uses with hotels. We already have the movie theater there. We have the mall is shrinking on purpose. We're cutting through it, cutting it out. The center department store, Macy's, will be torn down within the next few months. The Sears, the old Sears Auto Center that's right on Fowler, probably the most visible because of the Fowler frontage, that's being torn down again in the next 90 days or so. That's going away. That will give way to one of the largest office tower sites in our portion of the city of Tampa. It has a capacity for several million square feet of office development that is mixed use with experiential activity, food and beverage, all sorts of other experiential type uses on the street that gets everybody kind of connected back and forth. And then we go up into the sky with all sorts of office capability. That's only on about 8 acres. So think what we're going to do with the other 92. Again, back to this neighborhood shopping center, that was all about relocating Burlington. And so Burlington is going to come in. We have a Sprouts that's coming in next to them. And we have another box, a mid box of about 30,000 square feet. As a whole, we may chop it up a little bit and put in food and beverage type uses in with it. But there's altogether, there's about 110,000 square feet of development, which I think is about less than 1% of the development capacity of that project. But people will see it. You'll see the face of the mall going away. You'll see other faces popping up. But what's really important about that is a clearing of the site. It's a consolidation, because this site is not about retail. Retail is only a support. It's only an amenity to really what is here. And this is an innovation community. This is where people, again, from all walks of life, come and gather and bring the best of themselves to this community and create together, create in their own studios as well, but they are able to sort of literally bring it on the street and paint it on the buildings. And it's not just scientists, it's artists too. So this year is going to be very big for us. You're going to see the several 100,000 square feet of development. We have one project right now that is literally 10% of development capacity that we are getting ready to kick off. We're very hopeful that this is going to happen, and it will be 700 to 800,000 square feet just in one project. And when I say that in context, the apartment project, $65 million, is about 650,000 square feet of construction. About 300,000 square feet of that is parking garage. This other project that's 700 to 800,000, none of that is parking garage. The parking garage is separate from that. And we're doing something very innovative to be able to make the best use of our existing parking garage facility to make that happen. And so we're going to significantly begin the climb to create density and connectivity on this site. I don't even know what it's really going to look like completely in 15 years, and I don't want to. All I want to do is for us to work together and make sure that it is the best that it possibly can be. I know it will be incredible. I know it will be really groundbreaking, pun intended, work in this community, but it really will be impactful, and it really will bring people together and get them engaged and participate. And I think that's probably threw a lot at you, but I'll open it up for any questions that you might have. Don't be shy.
Questions?
I know a lot of you, I think, so. While you're thinking about that, let me go through maybe a few other things. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention. It's probably the most exciting thing that's really happened to date at that site. Soaring City Innovation Partnership has opened up what we call the Black Box Accelerator. It's been the initial gift has been provided over a few years from Florida Blue to get this accelerator going, which is a community accelerator. We will do tech startups and all sorts of other things like that through there, but its main purpose is a community accelerator. It's for ideas right out of the community. It's to make entrepreneurs, to create entrepreneurs, build them just like we build anything else in our world, but build them right out of our neighborhoods. And then be able to help them take their ideas and their vision, get them connected up with everyone else that they need to be able to make this happen, and run that startup and those entrepreneurs right through the Black Box Accelerator. And the reason that's important is Florida Blue's involvement. And so Florida Blue is involved with Soaring City, was involved with Tampa Innovation Partnership, now is involved with Soaring City Innovation Partnership on what they call their growing, why would I blank on that? Growing Resilient Communities initiative. That is really the heart of everything that Soaring City Innovation Partnership is all about, is growing resilient communities and growing them in urban neighborhoods that have really similar characteristics to what we have in Uptown, but not everybody has what we have in Uptown. So this is really sort of, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit. You know, we have a top 20 public research university. We have one of the largest medical research districts in Florida. We have players like Yingling and Busch Gardens and Pepsi. People forget about Pepsi, but that's the largest North American warehouse for Pepsi, located just a few blocks from the USF campus and right next door to Yingling. Anytime you get powerhouses like that in your neighborhood, you have to make them work. I mean, you think I'm going to say you have to be nice to them. Well, you do have to be nice to them, but you have to make them work, and you have to get all that brilliance that's in that corporation and get it out onto the street. And that's what Soaring City has been doing and is going to do, is pull the best and the most valuable pieces out of players like USF, like Moffitt, who's a member of Soaring City, Advent Health, a member of Soaring City, USF as well on the executive board, the VA research at hospitals and research center, the only one of its kind in the world. And if you don't know what that means, go knock on the door of the VA and they'll tell you, they'll show you, and it's pretty exciting. And our university area community development corporation, which is a workhorse and does a lot of work and doesn't get a lot of credit, doesn't look for a lot of credit, but is also a member of our executive board at Soaring City Innovation Partnership. And we're bringing on many corporate players as well to be board members. We're expanding our board. We're more than doubling it at the executive level. And so there are opportunities for corporate members now to start really joining with the anchor members, USF, Moffitt, Advent, VA, UACDC, RD Management is also there. Anybody come up with a question yet? As usual, I've been too thorough.
I have questions if nobody else does.
Sure.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So I guess, first of all, we're just so pleased that you've come in and talked to us and kind of updated us on what's happening in this area. And we just wanted to extend our interest and support on the part of the New North Transportation Alliance to do everything that we can to help this transformation. And our angle on this is to strengthen the transportation system in the area to improve the mobility for all users, with an emphasis on the whole gamut of different kinds of transportation. So in other words, what we envision this area would be like, is that people would not have to have a car in order to get around. And so we're looking at, supporting public transportation. We're excited about the prospect of RITHM at Uptown being a gathering place, as you say, that could encourage people to get out and walk and bicycle and that whole piece. So that's our main interest. So any way that we can do to support you, to support the employers that are part of your development, we extend our assistance to that.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll definitely take you up on that. And that's something that I think Eric Larson, I see his name here with Soaring City Innovation Partnership. Many of you know Eric. He's another workhorse in our community and our organization. So I think I left the best for last. So you really teed it up pretty well, Sarah. And I didn't even you and I didn't even get to talk about this, but a huge piece of work over the last 7 years, especially accelerating over the last 4, has been working with FDOT, because Fowler is a state road, and it has not really ever been planned on the banks. The banks have never been planned, and the state road has never been really very user friendly, very conducive to, even if we did plan, right? But now everybody's at the table, and everybody is really singing the same song. And that song is Urban Boulevard. And especially from 275 to the USF campus to about 50th, which is its eastern edge, very urban, very innovative, I believe, boulevard. And then it will continue off to 75 and be designed in a way that I think will be conducive to planning and growth over many, many decades. But we really need that plan, and we need now that development at Fowler between 275, especially to Bruce B. Downs, and then onto the USF leg of Fowler, which includes McKinley, which is obviously, those who work and live up there know that there's over $500 million of development going on right now, just there, and that all has to be connected to everything else, to all of us and everything else that we're doing. So that boulevard is under planning. FDOT is on with us. We're going to create a boulevard, and it's going to be pedestrian focused, bike focused, and then figure out how to get cars back and forth. And there's a total new thinking of how we should look at the vehicles, the cars, in particular, the single vehicles today, as we did even 5 years ago. So I'm really, really excited about that. Everything that we're doing in the RITHM at Uptown development is focused on that. And literally, I started out on Fowler from 275, working back to USF to figure out how to put a framework there, and then plug in and create a framework for RITHM at Uptown. And I just really call it RITHM now, as an algorithm, if you've all figured that out here this morning. And how does it plug in, and how does it connect? The other thing that we're going to do, again, I mentioned Uptown Innovation Quarter. That means we should be doing and can do anything we want in terms of innovation, from hard engineering to incredible arts and everything in between. We created another organization, my son and I, that's an experiential organization called Kaleidoscope, as in collide with a K. And so colliding all of that together and seeing what we can come up with and experiencing it together, that's what we can do. It's kind of funny. So I'm going to throw this out there. That's what I want to do with Fowler. Don't get scared. I don't mean that we're going to actually collide as in cars. We're actually going to do exactly the opposite. But it is, as I think about that, is kind of funny. So here's the thing. What everybody looks at when we say research park, research area, whatever we say about research, everyone thinks about USF, and some people have thought over time about RITHM. And that's true. But the real research village is Fowler from 275 to 50th. That's the real heavy urban research, mixed use research village. That's it. And Fowler is the spine. Fowler is the runway, whatever you want to call it. Okay. It's the corridor, and it can be anything we want it to be. What we're through Soaring City and through RITHM, what we've been looking at and behind is as we design, as FDOT and the community start to design the Fowler Corridor, this urban boulevard system, there are talks about, what do you do on the banks in terms of transportation? What do you do in the center in terms of transportation? What we're discussing today, which I believe is incredibly exciting, is what if the center of Fowler was literally a transportation laboratory, a way to design some type of connection and connectivity along that thoroughfare, right through that thoroughfare, right within everyone's eyes, that everyone can see it. They can see it be designed, they can see it be built, they can see it be used. What if we could create that center of Fowler that was one of the greatest transportation experiments and devices that we've ever seen in Tampa Bay? That's what we're asking. That's the question we're asking right now. We're talking with a lot of different transportation groups, and we have over the last couple of years. The latest one is a group called Snap Transportation, and they are creating autonomous pod systems that are elevated and go on. They're on demand, and they're coming up with a very cost-effective per mile solution that totally brings it within our wheelhouse for Fowler to create something like this. I don't know if it will someday be Snap. I don't know if it'll be something we don't even know about yet, but it'll be something like that. It'll be a connector. That's what we're trying to do with Soaring City Innovation Partnership, and with RITHM, and with the state, and with our community, is something that we can not only connect ourselves block by block, but literally become a laboratory for the rest of the world. And you can actually see it from every angle, from the south side of Fowler, from the north side of Fowler, from the east and the west coming in, and you can, hopefully someday you can ride it, and hopefully someday very soon, because I'm getting old, and that we can all ride it, and we can all park our cars someplace, and or however else we got to Uptown, and just be able to connect back and forth without that vehicle. Bikes are okay. I should probably ride mine a lot more than I do, and some of you as well, Eric. But that's the last thing I want to say. That's something that can be just a challenge, and it's also an opportunity for your organization, and for Soaring City Innovation Partnership, and for everybody that works and plays and lives around Fowler.
Any other comments? I have like 600 questions, but I realize we're we're getting low on time.
Right.
I know that we've got someone from HART here. They recently, you probably know, they got a grant from USDOT, Federal Transit Administration, for transit-oriented development pilot planning. So I've been in touch with Linda Crescentini asking about, what's the, I'm seeing all the different people that are on this call, the things that different people can work together on and coordinate on, and this is certainly a piece that hopefully Soaring City is keeping close in mind. Linda?
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. That was really interesting. Thanks, Christopher, because I see bits and pieces of it, but I never understood the whole story. So, and I'll piggyback off what you said as far as connection. HART, the Hillsborough Transit Authority, we have a lot of east-west routes, but we're weaker on the north-south. So what HART has been studying in conjunction with the city of Tampa is, the streetcar extension that takes us from the existing terminus of the streetcar and go farther north. And in connection with that, the BRT study to get us up Florida BRT study that we're under design with Tyndale Oliver, well, I always forget their new name, I'm so sorry, does take us from downtown Tampa all the way up Florida and across down Fowler, the same corridor that you're speaking about, takes us north on Bruce B. Downs back to Marion Transit, to University Transit Center. So we're looking at that same corridor, and we've been obviously very, close coordination with DOT. So it's pretty exciting about what you're saying, because it's difficult to try to fit transit along a corridor like that. So yeah, we would absolutely love to be included in your discussions. The TOD is focusing, the TOD is actually transit oriented development. And that's looking at the just like you were mentioning, how does transit fit into the communities along Florida? So we did recently get a $300,000 grant from FTA, which is our governing body. And they've been having some small charrettes. Last one was this last Saturday. I was out of town, I was unable to go. So I was trying to get an update for you, Sarah, but I didn't get information on how it went on Saturday. So yes, we see things very similar to you do. How do we connect the community? Where are they going? How do they want to get there? And obviously with gas pricing surging the way they are, that has, definitely hurt the underbanked community, and it's a challenge. So yes, please, thanks. It was really exciting to hear what you had to say this morning.
Thank you, Linda. Maybe what I can do, Chris, is follow up with my questions so that I don't
Sure.
keep everybody up.
And thank you, Linda. I know Soaring City Innovation Partnership has been working really quite regularly now with HART, and has been for years, but I know that it's really getting exciting, and we really appreciate the partnership and the work with the organization. I think we're, it's starting to get fun here.
It is.
A lot of hard work. People have been working very, very hard. I respect that, but it's getting to be fun now because I think we're seeing some light, at the end of that road. So.
Absolutely. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Well, if no other questions, thanks so much, Chris. That's awesome. Sounds exciting, and we're glad to be right here with you. So whatever you need from us, we're here to help out. So keep us posted.
Thank you. We will. Yes, we will. I think it's probably a good idea to get we have Eric here, probably to set a meeting with some of our folks and yours to discuss, really what's going on and discuss some next steps.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Next up, we have Kenneth Bowden to talk to us about our newest designated best workplace for commuters. Oh, Kenneth.
Yes. Hi. Thank you. Wow. There sounds like a lot of great things going on in Midtown. I just want to thank you. Uptown, sorry. Oh my goodness. I just wanted to thank you for that great presentation. It's really interesting. And as a new resident of Temple Terrace, this is just really exciting to see what's going on. And I do hope we have better transportation options soon along Fowler. But anyways, yes, we wanted to do a little presentation. I'm joining you with my colleague from Commute with Enterprise, Arlinda Carulli. And Arlinda really is the driving force behind the success at James A. Haley. I'm going to share my screen, and the two of us are going to go through a couple of slides. This was a presentation that we did for the folks at James A. Haley about, I don't know, Arlinda, that was what? Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can see it, Ken.
Okay.
So what we typically do is on a quarterly basis connect with our existing accounts and share some results with them. So this was pretty much all of 2021. So we met with them in mid-January or beginning of February and shared these results.
And I just wanted to recognize Alicia Burden with the James A. Haley Veterans Hospital, who has joined us for this meeting this morning. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I'm here.
So our point of contact at James A. Haley, Francine Brew, I don't know if she's on this call today, but kudos to her for going through the registration process to make James A. Haley a best workplace for commuters, both in 2021 and 2022. That's huge. And just so folks know about what the best workplaces for commuters is all about, it's to honor employers who provide a quality transportation benefit for their employees. And in the case of James Haley, the VA hospital, they offer subsidized, fully subsidized transportation, both through the transit system, through HART, through if people are coming from further away with PSTA. But they also offer full benefits for writing van pool. Part of that is a portion of that comes from the federal voucher, but my organization too, TBARTA, helps provide a $400 a month subsidy. And we also offer the emergency ride home program. So anybody who is part of van pool is automatically enrolled in the emergency ride home program. But I just want to throw this out there. It's open to anybody who is utilizing transit, who's carpooling, bicycling. All they need to do is register at CommuteTampaBay.com and then start recording your trips. That's a great benefit for joining Commute Tampa Bay. But you also get all these great coupons for over 1,000 different companies throughout the Tampa Bay area, discounts. So there's a lot of incentive, but again, thank you, Francine, for registering with James A. Haley as a best workplaces for commuters. And we anticipate that James A. Haley will be a best workplaces for commuters for some time to come. I'm going to advance through this and I want to do like a little talk about the size of the James A. Haley van pool program. Right now, Arlinda, we're at about 70 vans. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. 70 with, I would say, another 6 or 7 in the pipeline to start in the next few months. Probably a lot to do with the fuel prices out there. So, yes.
Yeah, and this gives you kind of a visual impression of where all those vans are coming from. We have folks coming as far as Crystal River. And I think this is really a great illustration of how the van pool program works. It's a great, it fills a niche in our transportation system that can't easily be provided by the public transportation system. It's really great for those that have a long distance commute or even kind of a middle distance commute. I'll move on. And a couple of the societal or benefits to the Tampa Bay area. I just kind of want to go through this a little bit, and I should update this, but back in October, we were actually at 68 vans. We're currently at 70. At that time in October, we had a total of 318 individuals participating in the van pool program. And our seat occupancy rate, and this is something that I just want to mention, we've been working hard to get that seat occupancy rate back up to in the high 60s. And we want to see it get over 80%. But during the COVID pandemic, it crashed. We lost a lot of van poolers. And FDOT was good enough to make sure that the van pool stayed on the road, because starting up a new van pool is quite an ordeal. So our van pools actually fell below the 50% threshold that would normally be what we need in order to offer that $400 a month support. So we've really been struggling to get back up to above that 50% threshold, and I'm proud to say that we're quickly approaching 70%. But anyways, looking at this from like the number of miles saved, you know, we have nearly 4.5 million miles saved in 2021. And what that means is we're putting less wear and tear on our road system. We're also producing a lot less carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. We estimate that we have over 3 million, nearly 3.5 million pounds of CO2 saved by people just simply not driving themselves, but joining the van pool program. And if you want to think of that in terms of a volume of space, that CO2 would fill the same volume of air that could fill up to 880 Raymond James stadiums. So it's a lot of CO2 that we're preventing from being emitted into the atmosphere. We also estimate that commuters who join the van pool program save approximately 2.5 million or have saved 2.5 million dollars in 2021. I'm going to just jump past this. I really just wanted to use this as an illustration of the seat utilization. So again, if you look at the bottom left corner of this particular slide, we're at about 66% occupancy, at a 66% occupancy rate. We're moving forward on this. Is there anything, Arlinda, that you would like to add with this slide?
So what I wanted to add in terms of the parking, I know that seems to be a challenge even in having conversations with participants that work at James A. Haley. We're hearing a lot of concerns, them leaving the garage, you know, taking upwards of 20 minutes just to kind of get out of that area alone. So looking at what's indicated here and on the previous slide, 265 parking spots reduced just by folks participating in this program. So it's not just a benefit for employees putting less wear and tear on their personal vehicle, having fuel covered for, but also, you know, this is kind of, I wanted to point this out for you, Chris, because it's a great benefit when you're looking at all these other sites and taking under consideration parking being a concern. 265 spots, that's a lot. That's like a garage on its own. So and again, with communication and what we've had going on over at Haley, we're expecting those numbers to go back up. It's very close to being number one, the largest VA hospital participating in the country right now. And hopefully we get to share that success soon with Francine here, and we'll, hopefully by the next NNTA meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the benefits that accrue to the individual participants, again, savings. We estimate that folks that are in the van pool program save about $633 a month. And that, again, is the cost of gasoline, it's the cost of tolls, it's the cost of insurance. And insurance is something that is provided by the van pool program up to $1 million per vehicle of insurance. And again, this is a way to think of folks that are on the border with buying a second vehicle or even a third vehicle for their family. This is a great alternative. You know, they can save a lot of money. They don't have to buy that second vehicle or that third vehicle. This is a way for them to get to work safely on a regular basis. But in terms of benefits, not just financial, but there are time benefits as well. So the stress of having to drive through Tampa Bay area traffic. I mean, all of us know how bad that's getting. Folks are able to, basically, if they're a passenger, they have alternative things that they can be doing while they're in the van pool. They can be reading, they can actually sleep. And I think our van pool participants at James A. Haley, we estimate that they're saving about 38 hours per month of just not driving, of reducing stress levels. And that equates to about 462 hours per year. And in terms of the amount of wear and tear that they're putting on their own personal vehicles, well, on average, the average van pool participant is reducing the mileage on their personal vehicles by 1,481 miles per month. And again, that equates to over 17,000 miles per year. So lots of reduction on wear and tear of vehicles, lots of reduction on just the stress of driving, and a lot of cost savings as well.
Ken, if you're, I don't know if you plan on moving on the next slide, but what I wanted to add on here too,
Yeah.
These are not numbers that we're guessing or collecting from a survey. This is numbers that Haley employees are reporting on a monthly basis. So they have what we call a coordinator in each van pool, who's kind of our main point of contact. And on a monthly basis, this report opens up for them, and it shows the names of all the participants, the days of the week, and they click on that. And the route is pre-recorded when we start the van pool, right? So we know where the stops are, where the pickups are. So they're clicking on there, and these are numbers that we've been able to collect over 2021 from the van pools at Haley. So no guesses.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's an estimate, but you're right. There are hard numbers behind this. And finally, I just kind of want to go through and talk a little bit about the potential at James A. Haley. And, really, Arlinda, I think that you're probably better situated to talk a little bit about some of these projections. But would you like to take this slide?
Yeah, absolutely. So typically what we like to do is forecast what the potential could be for each work site that we do have a partnership with. At Haley, there is a total of 6,000 employees. And ideally, what we'd like is that 10% of them participate. On federal sides, that number tends to be a bit on the higher side, but this is just keeping it, a little on the safe side. So if 10% of the Haley employees were participating in the van pool program, we would have close to 600 van poolers. So we could very easily double the number of participants that we have right now. And we're looking at the course of, moving forward. So this could mean 129 van pools. And in terms of parking spot reduction, that's 471. So thoughts of building another parking garage, they could very easily be, I don't want to say dissolved completely, but this is a great number to start by. Also, potential commuter miles. Again, we're looking at doubling those numbers of what they're doing right now, or upwards of the 8 million. CO2 reduction, I think this is very important, especially as a city, we're moving towards green initiatives. This is a great way to record that reduction outside the four walls of the business. So it's not always what you're doing inside, right? Looking at recycling and solar panels. This is something that we're able to measure and provide, and have Haley brag about it. So close to 6.5 million CO2 reduction. And then looking at what Ken mentioned earlier, just being able to take the savings, 4.7 million, that's very significant. And honestly, ideally, we base these numbers off of the folks that have to pay on out of pocket as well. So we kind of take a median average. But for Haley employees, as Ken mentioned earlier, they get up to or qualify up to $280 per person on transit funding. So they have this credit card where they essentially pays for the van pool. So for 100% of the folks we have participating at Haley right now, their ride to work is covered for. So they've got the $400 subsidy coming from TBARTA, as well as that additional funded, the transit funding. So again, that's a big number. That's great savings. And the map that Ken was showing earlier as well, something to consider is shifts, right? A lot of these folks are working first, second, third shifts where third shift may not have any other transportation solution available to them. And, we're able to help them out with that. So yeah, this is a great way to kind of look. It's not just the distance. Sometimes they're a lot closer. What we end up seeing a lot of the time is that maybe we've got one or two folks that qualify to be drivers or have a valid license and the others don't. They can still be participants in the van pool. So this opens up doors to others that they want a job, right? They need a job. They want to find a way to get to the work site. They may not have a route to get there on a third shift. So being able to just hop on a van pool and have someone else drive them to the work site is really helpful. So it's been a great way for Haley to use this as a recruitment tool to bring more staff in, as a retention tool. And then obviously the parking concern has been a big one that's addressed. Anything else to add, Ken?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that employers that have joined us that are not federal employers, they can participate in van pool too easily, and they can actually assist their employees through an IRS loophole. It's the pre-tax transportation benefit, and folks are able to reserve as much as $280 per month to help pay for van pool. Now, again, that money is not taxed, so it's a savings that goes to the employee, but it's also a savings to the employer where they don't have to pay FICA on the amount that's deducted to help pay for van pool. It's also folks can also use that to help assist their employees with paying down the cost of a transit pass. I just wanted to mention that. We encourage anybody who's interested in learning more about the commuter services program from TBARTA, you're welcome to reach out to me. And if you're, of course, interested in learning more about the van pool program, you can contact me or Arlinda Carulli. Now we'll just open it up for questions. And I will try to stop sharing my screen.
Questions, anyone?
This is Chris Bowen. So just a quick metric for you. If we look at the 265 spaces, I believe is what you had said, as a need, basically defraying the need to create another parking garage. That's probably $500,000 to $600,000 or more per year of carried expense for that garage. The garage is a good $5 to $6 million to build in itself. It's never as, it's always more than you think it will be. Garages are the gift that keep on giving, because then you have serious maintenance costs every year as well, which many people forget. The thing that's really incredible and the great presentation. Wow, what a resource! I'm glad I was here this morning to see that. I see Mark Sharp is here as well, and Eric. We'll have another off-channel discussion because a lot of what you said is really right at the heart of what we're discussing as well in the development of Uptown. And one of the issues, the other metric I'll give you is it would save you if I'm the employer and I didn't have to build that garage, and I can get my 265 people here without that garage. My office building is saving about $8 per square foot per year in rent that it would have to charge normally. And what that does is I can now be very, very competitive in the overall Tampa metro for office space, for Class A corporate office space, which is something we're trying to push heavily in the Uptown community. And it's difficult because in downtown Tampa, you have garages, private and public, that are being shared because you have density and you have cross connectivity, and these garages can be shared. So you can build these office towers without having to in many cases, build a garage to support it because the infrastructure for parking is already there. And guess what? We don't have that. So the developers in a dense area like downtown Tampa and even out by the airport, they have this infrastructure of parking resources that we don't have in Uptown. And it's very, very difficult because every time we build something that's of mass, that is urban dense, we have to build a garage to support it, whether it's an apartment building, an office building, a hotel, you name it, or we've got to take a bunch of land. And the land is not getting cheaper here, it's getting much more expensive. Land in Uptown right now is going in the range, commercial land along the Fowler Corridor, $1 million to $4 million an acre. Wow. 7 years ago, it was probably less than $500,000 an acre. Now it's as much as 4 million, and it's going to keep going. All right. So every time you take an acre for surface parking, you're killing yourself because that really should be a tower type footprint for residential or hopefully for mixed use and residential office. So live, work, play, mixed use. That's what we want to build along the Fowler Corridor. So $8 in rent. We don't have a Class A office market here per se. We're building it now. We're making it through RITHM, through USF, through others. And every time we have to build a garage with it, and every organization like VA, like USF, like RITHM's development, we're building garages on a one-off. That's different than downtown and other urban areas, downtown St. Petersburg, downtown Tampa. They don't have to do the one-off. They're doing shared parking development. We're doing one-off parking garage development because we can't, the land, a lot of times we don't have enough land. Look at Haley, they're out of land, right? We're working to connect Haley literally to RITHM for shuttles and pedestrians and bikes. We're calling it the Vet Tech Trail. It's part of the extended Greenway Trail in Uptown that will connect to everyone else. We're connecting it because the VA has no more land, yet they have world-class research that needs to quintuple, not double. It needs to quintuple into the billions of dollars. What is the price for holding them back and keeping them at their current research level, which is probably $1 billion a year in research, but holding them back to $5 billion in research? There's a cost in that. It's called jobs. Yeah. It's called impact to a region. Right. So what I want to just say to everyone, what they have just told us is just incredibly valuable in the right hands. Thank you very much. I'd love to, talk more about this and come up with even some more metrics to help, people really understand what you just said. But you did a great job. You did a great job.
And Chris, just to add to that as well, when you talk about the shared parking spaces, something that we are discussing with those locations in downtown is, hey, how much are you paying for each spot? Great. Well, if you contribute that, towards the subsidy for the van pool, not only are you adding an additional benefit through transportation to be able to retain your employees, right, but you're almost cutting that cost because if you have a 7-passenger with 5, people in it, you just cut out, parking costs for 4 of those spots. That's pretty significant. You can pay 100% of the cost and their fuel and keep them happy and still save.
Right. So, right. Now every bit really starts to add up, and it all can. The beautiful part of it, as you've shown this morning, that it can be analyzed and metrics can be put to it. And I think the way you did it was wonderful. At least it was great for me. It really helped me understand what you're doing and how you're impacting very positively the region. And certainly thank you for what you're doing for Uptown, because you don't get enough credit for that, because you're helping us build Uptown by doing this.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, thank you, Chris, for that. That's great information. Wonderful.
I had a question, Chris. You said that you have to build the parking garages. Is that a county requirement? in order to get the approvals?
Yes and no. It's a county requirement, and city, whether you're in county or city or both. That's going to become probably even more stringent and it has to happen as the Fowler Corridor becomes rezoned and overlaid and replanned in order to get this urban mixed use construct. That is really, really critical that we get to that. No one wants to see the single story, essentially low-end retail, and you can't do that on $4 million an acre pieces of property. Also, when you talk about urban redevelopment, people are worried about gentrification and blowing a whole neighborhood apart, blowing an area apart, and while you're improving it. The good news with our Uptown community is we have something called Fowler Corridor. And Fowler allows us not to displace, because displacement is the dirty word in gentrification. You displace people, you push them the hell out. And the silly thing is you need them back to support you on the jobs. And then you got to figure out ways like Arlinda and Ken, innovative ways and complex ways to really make this work. But Fowler is our ability to actually design mixed use, affordable, marketplace, market rate, all sorts of housing concepts, micro, all sorts of stuff, shared, co-op, you name it, in terms of these housing models that are pretty cool and really work well in a mixed use, urban connected, innovative environment and city center. And Fowler is our way to basically, there's no residences on Fowler. So now we can create the residential in an urban mixed use fashion along Fowler, and people don't have to be displaced. They can come basically to the main street and be a part of the innovation community and tap into USF, tap into the health jobs and the health facilities, the tech, everything else. That's something I think that goes unsaid. But the other thing is, obviously, if you build an office building, as part of that rent, it's a Class A office building, the company and their employees want to know they have a place to park if they have a vehicle. But one of the things that major corporations ask me the most when they look at our community is, what is your transportation? Because it's not, do you have a parking garage? With a lot of the more advanced corporations today, it's what's your transportation system to this location? Because that's what they're most interested in. And, I think what it's going to end up being for us is we're a part of downtown, but we're still a regional platform. So we're going to be developing differently than downtown does. We're going to be hopefully sort of the last line before you get to downtown. Hopefully you've been able to get there on mass transit well before us in Uptown, but it could be the last platform. And then you park somewhere in a shared garage along the corridor. Hopefully we're all sort of co-using, co-sharing parking garage facilities and surface facilities amongst all of our players in the Uptown community. And there's an app for that. There really is. There's a lot of apps for that. And then you go downtown to work. You go to the airport to work. You go maybe even to St. Petersburg to work if you come from the north or the east. That's what I think Uptown. That's why I say a huge corridor of innovation is in transportation and all of the related, the intellectual property and tech transfer that you can imagine Uptown can be the epicenter of that for our region. And this is the kind of thinking that, that Ken and Arlinda have, put this morning. This is the kind of thinking that we have to really double down on.
And this is just one work site, Chris, so.
Yeah,
That's
but
right.
it's one that's near and dear because the VA is a crown jewel. It doesn't get enough attention, but that is a world unicorn in rehabilitation medicine. It is the granddaddy, the grandmammy, whatever you want to call it. It is the coup de grace of rehabilitation medicine the world over. All the Ivy League health systems train there with that faculty for rehabilitation medicine. They don't go to Harvard. Our James A. Haley don't. I mean, I guess they do. They, you know, they've got pedigrees all over the place. But Harvard comes to Haley. People have to remember that. And the research that's coming out of Haley, it's beyond incredible. And that's ours. That's ours. And we need to really encourage people to, you know, to really leverage that. You know, because in terms of economic impact, what you just showed, so that just is a proof, even more proof that Haley has an unbelievable economic impact on our region. It's just incredible. Every day I turn around, I find out more how the James A. Haley Veterans Hospital and research campus is impacting our region. It just, they're incredible.
I was going to mention how, you know, this area, you know, is a regional job generator, and a lot of the employees are coming from pretty far away. And so the great thing about the van pool program is it's a wonderful complement to our public transit system as it grows, and hopefully eventually it will become a regional transit system. In the meantime, the van pool program is the service, and it's a public transit. It's considered a public transit service. It provides that that service to these inter-county commute trips. And, you know, there are surveys that have shown that one of the top 5 reasons why employees quit their jobs is because of a stressful commute. And from the employer standpoint, it takes on average 42 days to recruit and replace somebody who has quit their jobs. And it takes something like $4,200 per recruit training of a new employee. So multiply that by a company turnover, and that's a huge amount of money. So enabling the commuters to get to and from their jobs, just like the James A. Haley, to do that in a stress-free way really does help with recruitment and retention. So it's very exciting. Any other questions?
Sarah, I think Mark Sharp has his hands up.
Mark?
Yeah, I know we've discussed this and you discussed it earlier, but just the key point for us is once you get there, the short connection points. So if you're at Moffett and you're waiting for a family member, or you're at the VA and your car's parked in the garage and you want to go get something to eat, the only option you have now is, you know, go to the valet, get your car back, drive a half mile to, you know, another point, and then try to find your parking spot. Same if you're a professor at USF or a student. So our objective, and that's why we're excited working with HART, is to have a really robust circulator that allows all these connection points to be made. And it's got to be robust. It can't be every 45 minutes, every 30 minutes. It's got to be just innate. It's there. You can pull out your app, as Chris said. But those short distances, and with the weather that we have, the inclement weather, walking is not really a great option because you can get stuck. You're on one side and then it begins to rain, you got to get back. So we're really looking at the circulator and then other scenarios where we can move people rapidly. That short distance, a half mile to, you know, really a half mile. If we can get that half mile figured out, I think we can take a lot of cars off the road.
Mark, are you looking at the on-demand services? You know, Chris had mentioned before that the example of SNAP. Is that on the table to look at, you know, some other innovative ways of providing on-demand service?
Absolutely. I mean, we're looking at all the above. You know, we had in 2016 we had a pilot project that we ran in partnership with HART and FDOT, and we've got plans now. Our members have put money down along with FDOT and the county on what, you know, we're calling the Uptowner, and so that's an on-demand system. But we're looking at all options and scenarios. We'd like to partner with our public transportation system because we want to be able to move you rapidly around within the Uptown district, and then, as you discussed, get you to downtown, or, you know, Chris said as well, get to downtown, the airport, without having to use your car. If we can figure that piece out, we can make the Uptown area much more comfortable and reduce significant traffic. So we are looking at all options. I do know that, you know, rideshare is heavily used and dependent upon both for the university and the other areas, but yes, ma'am.
I guess one other thing I would mention is Chatty, you had emailed me, I think it was yesterday, that you had been in talks with Craig Fox with FDOT, the PD&E for Fowler, and I was making the connection between that and what Chris Bowen had said before about the Fowler Avenue corridor. I'm hoping that PD&E is related to what he's talking about. We're hoping to get him as a speaker at our next meeting.
Yes, Sarah, absolutely, yes. And FDOT has been in close communication with Chris's group, the IP group. Absolutely.
Thank you.
They'll be speaking. We have an event, a community meeting on the 31st of March at RITHM on the second floor, the Black Box Accelerator. And David Gwynn has accepted and will be there to kind of introduce the PD&E conversation. And we hope to be hosting meetings throughout the fall there so that the community can come in and engage and give their perspective on the Fowler Avenue Boulevard concept.
Yeah, so everyone here, please go to the Soaring City website, and we'd love to see you there for that roundtable discussion. The early evening, I think it's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock on March 31st.
I do see Mr. Raymond on. I want to say if we could replicate what Bull Runner does all over the we would win. The Bull Runner's rock star. We just want to help them out. They've done a phenomenal job.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. We're always here to help, to do some consultation if you need.
Okay.
All right, if no other questions, again, Chris, Ken, Arlinda, thank you so much for your presentations. Great discussion, great information. So we have a few minutes left. We'll just open it up now for anyone who has any updates or would like to share any information with the group.
I don't want to put her on the spot, but Karen Kress with Tampa Downtown Partnership, are you still with us? I think I saw you come into the meeting. I know you've been working really hard with the Tampa Downtown Partnership to develop a non-motorized traffic counting program in the downtown to help collect bicycle and pedestrian exposure data for planning purposes and for safety. Do you want to say just a word about the progress of all the hard work that you and your partners have been getting into and making this move forward? Did Karen leave us? I think she did.
Yeah, she did.
She did. Okay. Yes. So I just wanted to mention that Tampa Downtown Partnership is developing a non-motorized traffic count program in coordination with the Florida Department of Transportation, and to make this community activated to promote bicycle and pedestrian transportation in the area. This is something that I aspire to do, to bring a similar non-motorized traffic counting program up to this area to collect that very important planning data to help with creating the bicycle and pedestrian connections in our community. So this is, I think, another partnering opportunity as well. So throwing that out there.
Hi, this is Chatty again. Sarah, the athletics team did present to our board yesterday on the location, the recommended location for the football stadium. Currently, the recommended site is on the northeast side, kind of tucked in just underneath the Greenway on that east end between Sycamore and Holly Drive. The county is working on a design right now to widen our intersection at Holly and 50th Street and also at 50th Street and Fletcher as well. I don't know if Ray or Rich have anything else to add to that particular project.
No, nothing else.
No.
That's a huge announcement. Is that site, is that a finalized selection? Do you know?
It is not. It is a recommended site, but there still need to be some feasibility that has to be looked at.
Mm-hmm. That has a lot of implications for transportation in this area.
Yes.
I know this is something USF has been working on for quite a while. Thanks for bringing that up. And I'm hoping that in the future we can learn more about that and bring that topic to our meetings.
Yes, and hopefully we can get our consultant to come in and present to you once more things are finalized.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Others?
Okay, anyone else?
Hey guys, this is Alicia. I just want to say thanks for the great presentations. I had to drop off for a quick second, believe it or not. I just did a CAT scan in between that. But anyway, I really enjoyed the van pool conversation and the whole Uptown conversation. Very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alicia. Others? I wanted to mention too, so our next meeting, May 11th, we're lining up another speaker, Brian Schroyer with the Florida DOT District 7. He could not make it to our meeting today. We had originally planned for him to speak. I think he's lined up for May to talk more about the corridor study for 56th Street. Actually, it starts at 50th and goes all the way up to 56th Street to Fletcher. It's a complete streets treatment project for safety improvements in that area. So that will affect our area as well. So we're looking forward to that. That study just kicked off in around December. Anyone else?
Okay, anyone else? Sarah, I see on the agenda you had the Bike with the Mayor event. I don't know if there's anything to touch on.
Yes, thank you. So Florida is Bicycle Month. So nationally it's May, but in Florida, because it gets so hot in May, it's been moved to the month of March. So we've been celebrating Bike Month in March for the past several years. We have a Bike with the Mayor event. There's information in your agenda. It's Friday, March 11th, early in the morning. So you can fit it in before your workday. I've attended these many years in a row, and it's a lot of fun. Let's see, that's the main thing. So Love to Ride, I also put in the chat a connection to Love to Ride. That is a way of logging your miles and enjoying the benefits of bicycling in community. lovetoride.net/Tampa Bay. So look into that. That's a great resource. And then finally, in our agenda, we also put the link in for the ebook, the Commuter Benefits Guide. It's for a limited time, it's free for all, and it goes into this qualified transportation fringe benefits that Ken talked about in their presentation. Gives a lot more specific information about how employers can take advantage of that. I think that's it for me.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Last call. All right, well, I'll give you 3 minutes back to your day. Thanks again to all of our presenters and everyone for attending. Look forward to seeing you next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.